I think we should be live now. If anyone can confirm if is audio okay. Is audio okay? Can anyone confirm? 2 more minutes and I'll start covering. I'm just waiting to see if anyone else will join. Okay, I'm starting as always with Bitcoin as first, with macro time frame. As usually, nothing has changed for me. On the higher time frames, no bear or bull market. As we see last 4 weeks, we have done nothing more or less than ranging into a small range, small movements on only scalp moves, because we are in a area where nothing is clean. So, as I said on the last streams, as I said on the last streams, it's easy to find the higher time frames, resistance and support areas, in my opinion. Still, everything is about this in my chart is white, but this green candle, this buy candle here, everything is on based on this one. Bull market, I think bullish momentum, not bull market yet. Bullish momentum only if we close weekly above this key zone here. And mega bearish or bear market continues only if we close weekly under this key zone here. I mentioned it on the last streams also that these two zones are the key ones and nothing more, nothing less, rather than a range between these two zones. If we break out of this one weekly close above this zone here, in my opinion, it opened the gates towards 37.7k. Eventually, I'm taking this one here as range high, range low, deviation on the weekly time frames. Where do we have the mid zone? Let's make it on blue or green. Blue is cleaner. So first target 37.5, second target 45.2, and potentially as third target are those highs here at 52k. All those targets mentioned are only if we close weekly above the black zone. And downside targets for me only if we close under 24k on the weekly. Targets are this here is the range high of the previous accumulation range that we had, and we broke out with bullish buy candle, downside correction, another move up. So in my opinion, this here is range high, key range high support area on the higher time frames. This zone here, let me check it on lower time frames. This zone here is the range low. I'm gonna make it on blue to be cleaner. Here, this whole zone here. And mid-range comes around this zone here. Like this. Let's make it, okay, orange. Range high, mid-range, and range low of the higher time frame on the higher time frame context. Range quarter here, and another range quarter is on this zone here. So it's simple in my opinion. If we close weekly under the 24k, my targets are 22.8, 21.5, which is gonna be the key zone in my opinion. I explained it on the last streams. I'm gonna explain it again now. And two other targets are here where I'm gonna bid the biggest. But let me explain why this 21.5, 21.3 zone, this one here, this mid on the mid zone on the higher time frame is key zone for me. But first of all, understand that I'm talking about these targets only if we close under 24k on weekly. Also for the upside targets only if we close above the 32.5k on the weekly. As long as we are under 32.5 and above the 25.2, eventually 24.3, it's just range bound until it's proven otherwise. I'm talking about macro time frames, not low time frames. So this is for macro. You see why this zone is not a zone where we have clean view of what market is gonna do. It was a previous distribution range after the big downtrend, distribution, another downtrend, a redistribution, This one was a deviation, bullish deviation, targeting the range high, correction, deviating mid, upside. But the key why this zone is not a clean area is because this zone was not clean also. Here we consolidated before the big move down. Are we doing the same here to go upside or downside? I'm gonna tell you on the later on short term ideas that I have that price might play out, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm expecting on price action. So on macro time frame, this is it. These are key zones that I'm monitoring. Wouldn't be bullish, but wouldn't be bearish also until we find support here or we find as resistance here. And this one here becomes a big deviation. On macro time frame, this is it. Is it clean enough? If you have any questions, I just need to wait for some minutes before it showed on my screen because of the delay between the stream and the view. I'm gonna continue explaining the Ethereum on higher time frames. I'll answer the questions on at the end of the stream. So on Ethereum, nothing more, nothing less than the last line that we talked about. For Ethereum, this zone here. Okay, let me check it on 3 days. So this zone here, in my opinion, is key macro range high, and this one here is key macro range lows. Let me mark the prices like this. Okay. And the range low like this. Mid-range comes around this zone here, which was a zone that also respected the price. I'm gonna make it on blue. Also, I'm gonna mark the range quarters as I did with Bitcoin, like this. Let me make them another color to be cleaner, like this. Also, for macro on Ethereum, I'm gonna add one trend line, this one here, that in case that we break down of this trend line, it's gonna be bloody bad for Ethereum and for altcoins also. In case that what did Ethereum do? We had this one here. I'm gonna make it on, let's make it on green. So this 3D, I don't know if, yeah, it was on weekly also flat candle. We know that flat candles are that kind of candles that when price goes towards them, it's an area where price reacts very hard. So what did we do? After the range lows here and here, breakout, deviate the mid-range, we went towards this 3D flat candle, tagged it and got rejected pretty hardly, but this was here, was what we should have monitored. This was the bearish deviation showing us that the top was in. Also, not just a bearish deviation above the range macro range high, but also it bearish retested here and went downside towards the range quarter. So, in my opinion, for Ethereum, on macro perspective, if we got close above this zone here, this black zone here, first targets are these two targets here, 200, 2,400 and 2,500. Second target is this zone, and the third target, let me get this one like this, range high. Okay, this zone here as the third target. Downside targets are in play. I'm gonna tell you on lower time frames later, but on higher time frame downside, as I said on the last streams, these lows here has to be taken in my opinion because are clean. These here, these and these here. These are the key prices where I think that Ethereum has to bounce, and in midterm, if the market wants to take the liquidity, this zone here is full of liquidity on Ethereum. If we get a breakdown of this trend line, I'm expecting a flash dump towards these support zones. This is on Ethereum on higher time frames. I'm gonna explain the Bitcoin and Ethereum on short term, what I think price is about to do. So a big move is coming. Bitcoin volatility index shows that to us. 22 days of ranging before it made a big move. Next, same thing. Sorry, this one here. 18 days, big move. Same thing here. 11 days, big move to the downside. We are here now on the 20. We have been 20 days in the same range. People calling for bull market and calling for bear market. Meanwhile, they could have just trade range. So on short term, what I'm expecting is that price has to make a clean break above this area here. Until this key area here is broken, I'm being cautious on longs, also on spot buys. This is key area in my opinion. But I see that the price is moving inside the range. I'm leaving this key zone here for now. And I'm marking this range I'm looking at. So range high and range low here. I'm not gonna mark the mid range, but I'm gonna make just the range high and the range low. In case that this here is an distribution phase that it's marking the top, two key zones where I'm looking to buy the dips are these zones here. 28.5, 28.4, and here this zone 27k, 26.7. If we get close under here, as I said on macro, next key zone is the zone that I mentioned, the previous range high, that if we get close under it, it's gonna be probably this one big deviation and we're gonna go towards here. As I said, the targets, I'm not gonna repeat them. Once again, I'm gonna answer the questions on the end of the stream because of the delay I have with the stream and the chat. I see Mr. Zapax asking, so are we looking for shorts there? Yeah, if we get a breakdown on the macro time frame on 3D or daily, or I'm looking at it on 12 hours also. If we get a clean breakdown on Ethereum, yes, I'm gonna short it with a clean invalidation. If we get close back above the trend line, also if we see on lower time frames gaining strength or reclaiming any key area that we are monitoring. That's gonna be a swing trade for me if we get it, not a short-term one. So as I was saying, this zone, this is the range that where we have been playing. What is my best scenario? I'd say the best scenario would be a power of 3. I'll explain it here on the future chart, why I'm seeing it and what I'm meaning. What price has done on the last weeks, it has been only respecting the fair value gaps. FV key bounce. Same here, bounce. And what are we having? Let me clean the chart. This zone here on the weekly time frame, this one here. If we get a retest of this zone, cleaning those lows here, I think they are, no, I don't know if they are the last month's lows. No, but if we get a pullback towards this zone, get a clean of this lows here, I'm gonna make correlation of it with the range that I was talking. Let me mark the lows, 29.5. I'm gonna make them on red. So why I'm marking these on this range here? This would be a perfect power of 3. I'm gonna move this one. Okay, I'm gonna leave this one here, but I'm gonna mark also another price. So a power of 3 here is in play in my opinion. If we get close under this range, I'm gonna short it with the invalidation close back above. But it's high risk in my opinion because of those lows here. Future has called these lows, but that's why I'm marking only this one, because on the USDT chart, not in future but in spot, wicks are not the same. So if you are looking for the liquidity, you must use the future chart, not the one that I'm using, but the one that I was using previously. So I'm marking this low here as key zone. If we get acceptance under the range low, I'm gonna short it with the invalidation, as I said, close back above here. But first target is here, second one is this zone here that I marked later. But the most the scenario that makes the most sense is power of 3. Let me just, so I'm making this one on black, also this one. So accumulation phase, those lows here that I talked about, close under the range low, take those lows. I'm not gonna long this one because I'm probably gonna be shorting from if we get any bearish retest of the range low, as I said, with the invalidation close back above. I'm gonna wait for reaction. If we get a good reaction here, maybe I'll cut. Maybe I'll cut. I'm not sure, but maybe I'll cut or I will wait if we reclaim this. If we clean those lows here and reclaim the range low, this is all a clean deviation, or as we say on the power of three, manipulation phase. As long as we get a 4-hour close here above the range low, I think that expansion is soon. We are targeting at least 32.6. At I'm sorry, at least the range high. That's first target. 31.9 and 32.6 are the second and the third targets. This would be the scenario that would make the most sense for me. It doesn't matter if we get clean those lows or not. The what we um, For this scenario to be valid, we need to close under the range low, consolidate under it, everyone goes short, trap the late shorters, reclaim the range low, full send. This is the main scenario that I'm looking forward. And would be the scenario that would make the most sense. But if we don't get a reaction on the 29.5k, or we don't reclaim the range low on the lower time frames, that would be that, in my opinion, as long as we stay under this zone here, target is here. And if we get close under this, is here. Ranges are simple. This one, here, 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 is simple. So this is the range that I'm looking at Bitcoin today. Today I missed a short opportunity. I was monitoring the Monday's high. Let me make them on blue and Monday's low. I was looking forward to short it, watching this trend line. I didn't like the way that price was moving, and I was waiting for a breakdown, bearish test, or for a scenario like this. Didn't got filled at 31.45. Did not get filled at the bearish retest of the trend line. Doesn't matter. For now is in a no trade zone. It means that if you short here, where your invalidation would be. Is the risk reward ratio good? Also, if you long here, where would your invalidation or your stop loss be? There is no good risk and reward. So I'm patiently waiting for my orders to be filled. If we get above at the Monday's high any pump towards there or any dump towards the Monday's low, I think that potentially if we get a move towards Monday's low, I'm gonna long it with the invalidation close under this zone. If we get close under this zone, even on 2-hour time frames or 1-hour time frames, I'm gonna close it with a loss. And as long as we are under the Monday's low, also under the short-term range low, I'm gonna be shorting it with target here, first target and second target. But if we reclaim, close under and reclaim it, as I talked, full send in my opinion. This is for Bitcoin short-term trades. Ethereum short-term. Let me clean this chart. Okay. Ethereum short-term. Let me remove the alerts also. Um, Using 12-hour time frames. This one gives me a clean view. Key zone in my opinion is this one here. As I mentioned also on the last streams, this is key for Ethereum. As long as it holds above it, targets are this one. Let me make this one on black. Close under that one, targets are here. But I don't see Ethereum. I don't know. I need to see it close and hold above here. I don't like this deviation here because it was the same as the two lost times. So if we get a wick, okay, let me mark the Monday's highs and lows. If we get wick towards the Monday's high, I'm gonna short it with the invalidation close above here, targeting Monday's low green, and if we get close under the green, let me make this one as mid-range. If we get close under this green zone, target is here and here. Marking also these levels in case that we get there. Let's make it on black. Okay, this is also for Ethereum. Short-term ideas. I'm gonna mark you the liquidation zones that I'm looking at. As I said, this one here, this complete zone here, but with more interest on this low. In future it is 29,430. I'm gonna mark out, as I've been saying last streams, two more lows. These are key for Bitcoin. Key highs are this one, Monday's high, and last week's high. Also mark on your charts the last week's low. For Ethereum, these lows here, I think that market is gonna go for them. Equal lows here also. I'm gonna mark out, okay, I marked out the last week's low, marking out the last week's high. As I said, Monday's high, but on lower time frames. So last week's high also is correlated with equal highs here, full of liquidity. Here are equal highs. Those lows here all should be taken, in my opinion. Those here are all full of liquidity. Bitcoin dominance. I'm gonna talk about this, covering also with BTC, as I have always talked to them correlated. On lower time frames, hasn't formed any bearish pattern. Only here, if we are talking about the about a distribution phase, but I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know, we are into the, if we get the mid between here and here, we are above the mid, consolidating. Look how price respected it. Nothing about the Bitcoin dominance, only that this zone here is key support area and this zone here is key resistance area. But the breakout of this 2 years of accumulation, it has to be stronger and that's why I'm being cautious on altcoins, because I think that Bitcoin dominance still has room to go up towards the 53%. As BTC, talking about it on higher and on lower time frames. Let's mark on higher time frames the range. This here is the range high. This zone here is the range low. I'm gonna make this mark out this diagonal trend line. Okay, like this. So, range high, range low. Let's see where we have the mid. We are currently under mid range. As long as we are under the mid range, I price is getting respected by this 3 days demand area. If this gets lost, this purple zone, if it gets lost, that ETH, Ethereum, with, always remember, with BTC pair, it's probably gonna come towards the range, macro range lows with another 5% drop. On short term, what is respecting the price? So let me check. We have a demand zone here, also the low that. So here was the low, equal lows taken out, deviated, retest, and full send. This zone on short term is the key zone for me for BTC. If we get closed under this one here, that it's gonna go probably for the lows here and potentially for the prices that I mentioned earlier on macro perspective. This zone here, I'm gonna mark the prices. But to gain strength, as BTC has to close above this zone here. I'm gonna make it on blue. It has to close above here, targeting here as first target, and second one probably this zone here. Those highs should be taken, in my opinion, are clean to be taken. Bullish above here with target here, bearish under here, first target, and the second target is this zone. This is only for short term. For macro perspective, I talked earlier for ETH BTC, SPX. Haven't looked at it in a while because it has not respected. But now that I'm looking at it, big breakout of this zone. Pretty bullish, pretty strong for as long as this zone here holds. I don't know why Bitcoin is being so weak as we are seeing SPX into a key resistance zone. Let me check it on daily. Okay, this is key resistance zone, I think, in my opinion. If we get close above there, first target here, close above here, first target, second target is this one here, and the third target is here. But for pullbacks, I don't see anything bearish for as long as it holds this orange area here. For as long as it's above this orange area, I think that it's bullish. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. I think audio is okay. As I was saying, this looked to me like a double top, but today's CPA data made things more bullish for SPX with dollar going down. I'm gonna explain the dollar also. It looks pretty weak, but it's interesting chart to see. So in my opinion, for SPX, as long as the zone holds, nothing bearish, but also as long as it's under this key resistance area, it's making higher highs and higher lows, it's maintaining its bullish structure, but as long as it's under the zone here, I would be cautious. Flip the zone, as I said, targets, close under this one, target is here. Close under this, first target is lows, second target is here. Dollar. Let's check it from the higher time frames. On the monthly, it looks like it's forming lower highs, potentially lower lows. But what I'm seeing on dollar is that it's on the higher time frame key support area. Let's make it on black. Remember that I'm looking at it on monthly time frame. This is key for dollar. This was the range that dollar accumulated for the big move. deviated here, range lows, range highs, range lows. So as dollar deviated here, that doesn't matter that it's not gonna deviate here also. Would make sense for me. Make them all bearish on macro time frame, and after that full sand. For me, dollar, as long as it holds the 99.399 value, it's not something to worry about. Nothing big. Also, this one is on macro time frame. I'm gonna move that out. I'm gonna look for short term. What might dollar do? So on short term, this was a key resistance area that we rejected. Let me make this like, okay, like this. This is all support zone for dollar. If we get close under 140, I'm gonna target for dollar this zone here. I'm gonna make that on green. It's 99.4, potentially 99.2. For as long as this zone stays, we just took out those lows here. But for as long as 104 holds, I wouldn't target these zones here. If we get close under here, target 1, close under here, target 2. If we get acceptance above here, once again, let me just make it like this. Okay, it's cleaner. If we get acceptance above this zone, like this, we might potentially have a power of 3 on dollar, bullish power of 3. Considering this range here as the accumulation range, deviation close back above, targets here, and potentially, as I talked, first target this zone, like this. On dollar, close under 140, I'm targeting here. Close under this, target here. If we get acceptance reclaim of this key zone here, first target, second one, and I think it gains power to go to the third one, to the macro range high. Let me put the price on it to be more accurate. Like this. Also, the trend line I've been monitoring that we never broke out here. This is all for dollar. I'm gonna talk also for some, I guess, okay, 5 altcoins that I'm looking at. First of all is Link. I've been talking about it on the last on previous streams. It has good structure and I like it for how it's looking right now. As long as we hold 5.53 zone, this key zone here, I'm gonna be bullish on Link. For as long as this zone is holding. Range high, range low, mid range comes around here. I'm not gonna make it correctly with Fibonacci fibs. I think it's around here. And I'm gonna mark out also the range quarters, making them on red. If we get any pullback on Link towards this zone, I'm gonna be a buyer with the invalidation close under this zone. If we get another close under this zone, I think that Link is gonna come towards these lows as first target, second target here, and the third target is the previous accumulation range before the bull run. I'm gonna be a buyer of Link in case that we have a pullback at this zone here. I'll be a buyer targeting 630, 760, 740, and like this. Another altcoin, Injective Protocol, ING. One of the best coins out there. I think that this one has big potential. It's good, it's a big project, always working non-stop. So I'm gonna mark out first my buying zones that I'm looking to get, and after that I'm gonna mark out the short-term ideas that I have on ING. Looking at it on weekly, this zone here is key zone. If we get pullback towards this, like this is the first buy zone for me. Second one is this one here, and the third one, okay, sorry, is the whole zone here. These are the buy zones for ING as long-term holding. As for short-term trades, I talked on the Telegram channel about this bullish pattern that it was forming. Now I'm seeing it as like this. If we get a pullback towards these lows, I'm gonna be a buyer, targeting first those highs, second one here, and potentially even here. Even those highs, equal highs left here. This is for short term. Also, those lows are correlated with the support zone. If we get a pullback towards this zone here, I'm going to be a buyer. My invalidation is close under 7.70, targeting these highs and those highs here. RAD, I don't know what this shitcoin is. I don't even want to know about it, but look at this chart. I mean, just wow. What should we expect here? I'm gonna tell you what I'm expecting. Okay, it's an interesting chart, a really interesting one. Consolidation in a range now for 500 days. Wow. The move on this one is gonna be big, but I think not yet. These one are not breakouts or just fake outs, pumps, exit pump maybe, I don't know. But if we get close under 1.40, this shitcoin is gonna, it has to dump massively. Because this one is a big range. I don't know what even to target on this one if we get close. I'm not gonna buy it. I don't trade those low liquidity shitcoins. Look at this. I don't even want to touch this one. I think I'm gonna short small size if we get close under this one with the target to 0. I don't know. I don't even know for myself where to target this one. I need to check it out more detailed. But on the first perspective, if we get close on it here, it's it has to dump massively. Matic, I missed the trade shorting at 75 cents. I don't know what was I even doing. It was clean opportunity, but on holidays, I'm not staying much at shorts. I'm more enjoying the sun. It's forming clean high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Is this higher high coming for higher low? Let's see. If we get close back under the green zone, I think that Matic is gonna break the structure, bullish structure, creating an lower low, going for lower high, lower low, and going down. If we get a breakdown of this trend line and close under the green zone, I'm gonna short Matic with target, first target here, second target these lows, third target are these equal lows, and even those lows here are interesting. But I'm gonna short it, depends on how Bitcoin behaves. This was the previous distribution range. If we get any retest of here is a short for me with invalidation close back above 73.5. If we get close above 735, it makes deviation here, and first target is this zone. Okay, let me just clean this one here. Clean here and here. If we get close above the key zone here, 73.5, first target, let me make it on blue. Second one the highs, and probably even towards here. AXS, Axies Infinity. Interesting chart here for it. Support zone is here. This zone, if we get close under it, I think that it's gonna go for the lows here on lower time frame. Let's see. Like this. And I'm adding confluence to it. If we get a breakout of this trend line, first target on XCS, or how do I say this one, is this green zone here. Second target, and the third target. Only if we get close above this trend line. If we get above it, or if we get under it, target first, second one, and the third one. So this is it. This is all for today. Remember that everything shared here is not a financial advice. Always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor to you. I only share my thoughts of how market might play out on the next days or weeks. I'm not a market maker. Everyone might be wrong, so always do your own research before jumping into any trade. I hope that the information that I share here is helpful to you. Don't forget to show support, like and subscribe. Also share the video, share the channel. I'm gonna wait for questions until the end of the stream. I'm repeating because of the delay of the stream. I have to be waiting until I see questions on the chart or chat on or until I see that everything shared is clean. Muting for now until the video ends and I see questions.